So these elements are meant to have a better connection between fiber-reinforced polymers, composites and metals, because they can be inserted in the composite manufacturing process and makes the whole hybrid panel afterwards weldable.
If you want to know how stiff, light and durable parts are produced with very flexible material, this episode is for you. I'm about to meet with Hyconnect. Hyconnect is known for their FAUSST technology, which will make its name in the industry with the new concept of connecting metals and composite parts. Welcome to this newest episode of Better Made with Adhesives. Today I am in Halle, east of Germany. I meet with Lars Molter, who holds a PhD in material sciences. Lars founded Hyconnect, which is a spin-off of his former research project. Today we'll talk about his newest technology, FAUSST.
Welcome Marco, welcome to Halle, welcome to Hyconnect.
Thank you.
Glad to have you here.
Thanks for having us. Lars, you have a very interesting story.
Yeah, actually, as you mentioned already, from a spin-off to a production facility here at SLV premises, it was a huge step for us via a TV show where it's a German Shark Tank. We presented this innovative joining technology, got investors like Nico Rosberg, and today we are providing an innovative way of joining metals with composites. We are producing joining elements.
Okay.
So these elements are meant to have a better connection between fiber-reinforced polymers, composites and metals, because they can be inserted in the composite manufacturing process and makes the whole hybrid panel afterwards weldable. And this is really a step forward for the industry to use such innovative panels. We provide the technology so that the composite manufacturers actually are able to build hybrid structures weldable. And that gives the end customers the option to use lightweight panels in the metal structures wherever they like without changing currently the joining technology, which is quite often welding.
Ah, interesting. And if they would like to move from welding, they could also use adhesives and integrate that in a later step in the assembly line. So I see a good connection for the industry there.
Exactly. So this is one more joining technology in the basket of using hybrid structures. And if you like, let's move to our production and have a view on how it's made.
Excellent. Let's go.
So Marco, this is where the magic happens, where we produce the FAUSST joining elements.
Interesting.
And my colleagues are currently perform the welding as they weld a hybrid fabric to the metal profile while resistance welding. So resistance welding is quite well known, but from the automotive industry.
Exactly.
Yeah, where they spot weld.
Resistance spot welding.
Exactly. And we use the same technology, but on continuously rolling it.
Okay.
So this creates a continuously flow of spot welding where we then have the small fibers welded to the solid plate.
Lars, I see some loose parts here. Why don't you show us how that looks?
Yeah, exactly. So what you have here in hands, it's called the FAUSST fabric. And this is one of our, let's say, major technology developments.
So I see you're having a fabric side, you have the metal part or side. That's not bonded, that's not welded. How does that work?
Yeah, it's knitted actually. It's warp knitted with one of our technology partners, Fritz Moll Textilwerke. We developed this kind of hybrid fabric. So where we knitted together glass fibers and metal fibers in a way you cannot separate it. So it's the first kind of joining those two materials.
So once you knitted this textile with your metal side, you're putting it on a base metal which then goes into the welding process, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the customer decides what kind of profile he needs to use, depending on his metal structure.
Okay.
Or we use something like you have here. It's a standard flat profile.
Yeah.
So we provide also standard connectors. For example, think about the box.
Yeah.
Later on, we talked already about where you can have easily made panels. So from our joining elements, this is an example how it's looking like when it's infused in the composite panel. And this is one of the best use cases. It's called the lightweight box, more or less.
Okay.
So what you do is you have a stiff and light panel here with the FAUSST elements, and that can be very huge, and then you can simply weld it to a metal framing, creating a volume, a box, where the metal framing can take a lot of load, easy to manufacture, and here you have a very good surface, very slim composite part welded to it.
So basically your requirement is you need a frame, you have the FAUSST technology in here, the combination or the joining between composite part with your metal end piece, and then you're doing a composite box with a metal frame.
Exactly. This is especially where this kind of FAUSST technology is meant for. So you can create huge panels and then can be easily welded to the framing. And that gives you really a good first step into lightweight applications.
Hey Marco, I thought it's all about adhesive bonding in our Better Made with Adhesives show.
You didn't like the episode so far, David?
No, I liked it very much. It's interesting to see about new technologies, but where is the glue part?
I agree. I thought this innovation is very interesting because it's unique. It's combining composite panels with metal endings, so making composites weldable. And this whole concept is born out of shipbuilding industry, where welding is like the certified joining method. And I think there is some potential for adhesives here too, and I'm thinking of vehicle manufacturing as well.
Okay, so using this thing in other industries like the transportation market, I mean, that's our home base. We bond a lot of composite panels to metal structures, but this is typically done in the assembly line.
Correct.
Where I don't think you could bring welding into an assembly line, which is a rather dirty technology. So thinking about this from the segments we are active in, I think maybe the rail market could be an area this could be used as well. I know they also have some difficulties of using adhesive bonding in their weld shop, so
Correct.
maybe if they want to combine metal structures with composites in the weld shop, that could work.
Typically how our customers are organized, they have their weld shop, and it's very difficult to have a adhesive application in these environments because of dirty workplaces. So it's much more secure to stick to welding. But as you said, I see also potential for a panel like this to be moved in an assembly line environment where you could then again use adhesive bonding.
Yeah, that's our home base, where most of our customers are actually using the adhesives.
Absolutely. But you know what? Let's go back to my interview with Lars. I think we will now see how these panels are actually produced with infusion resins. And I also recall discussing some additional adhesive applications with Lars. Let's go back.
That makes me happy. More adhesives.
Lars, it's been a great ride here at Hyconnect. Thank you for showing us around. So we've seen the last bit of process when it comes to your composite panels. Tell us what we've seen here.
Well, actually, this is the process where the FAUSST joining elements are integrated at the composite manufacturer in their parts. And as you see how easy it is as overlaying simply the reinforcement fibers with the FAUSST joining and then applying the resin. So it is more or less state-of-the-art how to use joining elements.
So they're using infusion resins, right? So it's very likely, I don't know if you knew, that maybe Sika is in your parts at the end or in the end parts. Yeah. When we talk about composite and metal structures, with your, let's say, components or structures, how do we put attachments onto them? Because you can't weld anything onto the composite parts, right?
Exactly. So basically you use the FAUSST joining elements to create a let's say more bigger structure, the surrounding more or less. But quite common is that you have in the panels the need of local inserts. And that's a good, let's say, combination where you have the fixed joining elements and the freedom to use adhesives for attaching then these local inserts.
Excellent. So I see that all joining methods are being presented in this one case. If you have more questions for Lars and his team about FAUSST technology, you're free to get in touch with him. Anyway, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for the next episode of Better Made with Adhesives.